Hey guys, so today I am starting 2 more seeds. Today is the 14th of January, so about halfway through the month, and I am starting ammi magus, which is also known as bishop's flower. I'm trying to remember all the names. False Queen Anne's lace, and white dill. So those are the 3 or 4 different names, but just look at the botanical name when you're purchasing the seed and make sure that it's ammi magus. So ammi magus is a really good summer flowering filler that I used on the farm, and something similar to it would be like Orlea, if you're familiar with that. Ammi's not quite as beautiful, but it's a little less fussy when you harvest it, and I can succession plant it so that I get a couple cuttings off of it, whereas Orlea won't come back again and again throughout the season. It prefers the cooler months, whereas the ammi will grow in the summer and the fall. So I'm going to start some today, and then I'm going to succession plant every 2 weeks so that I have a continuous supply of that throughout the summer. So that comes in one color. It's white. It has a dome shape. I'll put up a picture. It is similar to Dara, if you've grown that before, and I think Dara is in the carrot family. And so the difference between the two is that the Dara has a little bit more of a thicker, fuller growth habit. I think the stems also tend to be thicker, and Dara will get like a purple dot in the center that will spread across the flowers into this kind of purpley brown color, whereas the ammi is going to stay white. So I prefer the ammi as far as color goes, and I plant mine about 6 inches apart in full sun. Now I think the plant tag says 9 to 12 inches or something like that, but I'm just going to do 6 because mine, for me, it's a one and done flower. I will take that first cutting and then I'll pull it and replant more of it. So, and it's definitely an annual. Now, it will reseed. So if you are planting this in your landscape, say, or somewhere where you're not going to really be fussing with it, it will probably drop seed and start to grow again. The problem with that is that it will not grow back in time for you to get a second cutting off of it, because winter usually hits before that wave of seeds can come up, which is why I succession plant mine so that I have new seedlings coming up every 2 weeks. So I think that's it. That's all you need to know about the ammi. Let me just think for a second if there's anything else. I said full sun, 6 inches apart. It's fairly easy to germinate, so I consider it one of the easier flowers to get to germinate. I pretty much surface sow everything unless it's a bigger seed. But this seed is a little bit bigger than like the snapdragons and the poppies, so I'm going to put a heavier layer of that vermiculite on top. The other seeds I'm starting today are my Shirley poppy seeds. Now, out of all the poppies, I would say the Shirley poppies are the easiest to get germinating. They also, for me, prefer our summer temperatures a lot better than the Iceland poppies and other things. I love all the poppies, but Shirley poppies are probably the easiest, so I am growing those this year. Those are going to be used as a specialty cut flower. If people place an order for them, I will cut and give them the Shirley poppies, but I probably will not sell them at the flower stand just because the heat will kill them off pretty fast. So these you want to harvest when they're just opening up. If you harvest them too early, they won't bloom, and if you harvest them too late, they won't last long enough. So after you harvest Shirley poppies, you do have to either boil the ends of the stems, or you can use a lighter just to heat up the bottoms of those stems, and that's just going to help the flower take up that moisture better than it would if you didn't do that. And then you store them in the cooler until you're ready to use them. Once you're ready to use them, you give them a fresh cut and you give them flower food so that they'll open up. Now, if they're already opening up, you probably don't need to give them the flower food. And then they last like 2-3 days, so not very long, but they're beautiful and they're fun to have in your house in those early summer months. I'm growing 2 different varieties of Shirley poppies this year. I'm growing Mother of Pearl which I grew last year and I loved. And I just saved the seed off my own Shirley poppies because that was the only kind of Shirley poppy I was growing last year. I wasn't growing any other kind, so I wasn't worried about cross germination or cross pollination. I'm not sure even if they would cross pollinate. I don't have any research on that, or I don't know anything about that. But this year I'm also growing a variety called Amazing Gray, which I grew a couple years ago and just loved. And I couldn't find the seeds for them last year, so I didn't grow them last year. But they're a gorgeous gray. They actually mix really well with the mother of pearl, which comes in like a white and kind of a pink and kind of a gray. So they kind of blend really well together. And I'm going to plant these apart from each other so that they can't cross-pollinate. If they do, I don't even know if they do. But these I'm going to seed the same as always. They are very, very tiny seeds, so just a little bit of that vermiculate on top with a lid, and then we're going to check back on those in a couple days.